sepaham langsung dikafirkan. Berkenal tak lebih baik, sudah terbukti banyak yang munafik. Punya orang tua berkuasa, merasa bebas menganiaya.
Wow, there it is. Welcome back to the C Morning Show. That was Barasuara. Great energy to kick off our final hour here. What do you think, Jazmine?
Lovely. No, I gotta say, I was looking at all of them individually,
Yeah.
and it's like they're living in their own world. Like, that's what music does to you. You're
Absolutely.
doing your own thing, but together, it's such a harmony.
Indeed.
You know, together.
Speaking of which, let's meet them right now.
Hello,
so,
guys.
let's start off by introducing them. Starting in the middle, the man in the middle there is Iga, and right beside him on vocals as well, we have Puti and Asteriska, and then we've got TJ on guitars. Over there on the end, bass, Gerald, and the man in the back on the drums is Marco. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Barasuara, for coming and joining us in that amazing performance. That was Etalase.
Yes.
And that was their single off their third
Third
studio album. So let's talk a little bit, before we get into the album
Yeah.
itself, I want to talk about Etalase. I mean, judging by Iga's guitar, you guys not only perform music, but music with a message. So we looked up Etalase, and the English translation is a bit weird because we use it as a word to describe like a display,
Yeah.
basically, right?
Yeah.
So we want to talk about Etalase. Etalase means display, but you guys actually have this whole album surrounded about the way we as modern humans behave. And this track actually talks a little bit about how we reflect our behavior on social media.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about Etalase and the meaning behind it.
Okay, yeah, Etalase starting off as a critics on ourselves
Okay.
instead of blaming to others. So it's gonna portray about how human behave nowadays. Like everyone is judging by their numbers, their engagement, and it somehow make some people, including ourselves, feel better than the others by having a bigger numbers, like having a bigger engagement. That's one of those. And then the social critics also, at the end of the last sentence of the lyrics in Indonesian is, punya orang tua berkuasa merasa bebas menganiaya. And it's like you're having a very powerful parents, very powerful family, and that makes you like
Disconnected with the reality.
disconnected in reality, and you feel stronger than anyone else.
Yeah.
You can
Privilege.
act freely,
Yes.
like hurting others and
Yeah.
those kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a critics, but the music is very playful, it's very energetic, it's very happy. So it's kind of
Double entendre.
yeah. To have a song with the critics that sounds like angry or very aggressive, but let's put the very harsh critics on happy music.
It's a fun tone, but it's got like deep meaning and
Yeah.
criticism behind it. So Etalase is like a display that we are in. We're
Yeah.
putting ourselves on display.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Jazmine?
I do, especially,
Me
I mean, he mentioned the last lyric. I gotta say that's very ballsy,
Very-
ballsy in terms
but
of,
very
because you're
relatable.
in Jakarta, and, you know, especially I think it's very prevalent if you're in the car, and you see like these cars with their mega, like, tot, 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 and all that. Here you go, go on. I mean,
Go
I'm not
ahead,
putting
yeah.
anyone, but, you know, like a lot of these things are used inappropriately, and it creates a sense of false power, because, you know, you might not be your parents. You might not have the same influence as them, and I love the fact that you talked about social media and connectivity with that, because it's such a delusional reality that we have created. It separates us from human interactions,
Yeah, sure.
right? Basic face-to-face talk like this. It's so uncommon nowadays. So I just love the meaning behind that. And speaking of meaning, the album itself, which one of you is Javanese?
I'm Javanese.
Everyone's Jazmine.
Oh,
All you
really?
guys, okay.
I said
Gerald is Batak, Sumatera.
Oh,
Marco is from Bali.
right. Oh, cute. Well, what does the album mean? Because it's a Javanese title.
Jalaran
right?
Sadrah.
Jalaran Sadrah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the emphasis of that?
Okay, Jalaran Sadrah is taken from the Japanese word. Well, we're gonna put it as a act of surrender. So yeah, because how that happens is because we, as a band, as a human being, also with lots of people in this world, having a very hard time in the 2020 when the pandemic strikes. But at the same time, we felt like we've been defeated and we cannot do anything. We just like basically surrendered with the situation. And then the album comes from that condition and situation when we as a band cannot do anything, and then actually music is not that important when on that time lapse, and then 2020 and 2021. The most important thing is staying alive with our families and good friends. So we feel that surrender is the most powerful motivation at that time. So this album, Jalaran Sadrah, in Indonesian is more or less is karena pasrah.
Karena pasrah. I was
Karena
thinking of the same word, pasrah.
Yeah, karena pasrah. Then the album is written and finished because we feel, and we accept the surrender, we accept the defeated, and we accept all the losing battles. And then the album came as a form of surrender, but we kind of fight back stronger.
So did it take that amount of time to create this album then? I mean, did you start it
No.
throughout the pandemic?
Wow.
2021. We created this album for 3 years.
Wow.
I mean, at least someone's using their time wisely.
Right. And you guys won by the way, you guys won an Emmy in 2022, correct? Like during that time. So it's a huge bounce back, not just for you guys, but I agree with all musicians because despite us having to give up, I mean, I know I have many friends in the music industry as well, we do, and it feels like despite everyone having to give in and give up, it felt also like, hey, we actually do need music a lot. You know what I mean? At that time, that's when we really realized how
Food for your soul.
That's right. That's how important it was. So, what influenced? Because you guys had 2 studio albums before this one, if 2015 and 2019, something like that, around that time. So this is around the same time. It's about every 4 or 5 years. But this one has a bit of a darker tone or deeper messages. What was the reason behind the shift, other than probably the pandemic was that you explained? But is this actually part of a plan to show a different side of your character as well, as a group, as a collective?
Well, the irony is our plans is crumbled. All of our plans are crumbled. So this album came out of all those plans are crumbled, all those plans are failed. And then why is it sound maybe a bit dark, as you said? Because it came, mostly I wrote the lyrics with Asteriska, and it talks about death and the multiple perception of death. Is it always like a sad thing, or is it always depressing? Or it could be like a peaceful, or it could be a great finish line for our humans. So death is not always have this one solid perception, but it has multiple perception. Whether the people who died might feel it, or people who left by the deceased. So yeah, it talks about it a lot in that album.
It was unintentional, actually. We didn't plan, you know.
Right.
It's such a
It
deep
just
and
happened.
dark
Something that happened.
The past 5 years while we making this album happens a lot. I mean, not just to us, but like others. I think everybody else experienced it. We lost our loved ones, and these events inspired, you know. And then I think that's also part of the why it turns out to be like this, the album.
How did your fans feel about this particular shift?
Yes.
Was there any sort of feedback, and did they go along with it?
We didn't expect the response from the fans because they have their own favorite tracks, you know.
Of course.
And like some, the special one maybe like, there's some song, it's called Biang. There's some Japanese words, and we have a maestro featured in there. It's called, his name is Sujiwo Tejo. And the song is about, apa ya? Banyak yang nangis gitu.
Biang in Javanese means mother, but it also means source, which is, I put it like, everyone have a source when they're younger. It could be parents, could be grandparents. And we bring their wisdom until we die. So
You pass it on.
Yeah, so it's the feeling or the wisdom or the memory of how they touch us, we bring us until the end of our world.
Profound.
So yeah,
Because
that makes people feeling related so much because either they have parents or they've been they grow up with the grandparents, but still like it related to the feelings of
Everyone
having
can
someone as a source of their
Protection and
Yeah.
love and care.
Yes.
Well, this
because usually the arrangement, music arrangement of Barasuara is like more powerful,
Yeah.
more fire.
Hard
you know?
hitting.
But in Biang, we only use one guitar, you know. Besides the coda, the outro,
Sure.
we use many guitar, and it feels different. So the response is really unexpected
Yes.
from the
It's very
fans.
overwhelming.
Surprisingly.
Surprisingly,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
people, the fans and the band itself, they mature together.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's
They're growing with the
it's
music
a
they love,
unity
isn't it?
of going that. Well,
Yeah, technically we're
Yeah.
getting mature together.
you guys, and you guys were listening.
That's a nice way of saying getting old, right?
As you said, we're trying to be wise.
Don't worry, Jasmine's still very young. Don't worry.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have another break really quickly, though, because we're going to listen to them later.
Yep.
But stay with us with Barasuara. Stay tuned at the Morning Show. Thank you.